Today, a community remains in shock after one of its local TV news teams was murdered, shot dead during a live morning broadcast on the air. Roanoke, Virginia. These are the colleagues and close friends of WDBJ reporter Allison Parker and her photographer, Adam Ward. Today, the station's on-air programming was briefly halted in a tribute to that pair. The man who killed them, murdered them in cold blood, is a former employee at that station who was led out by police when he was fired because of his threatening and unsettling behavior. That was back in February of 2013. If you believe the long suicide letter that he sent to ABC News yesterday, he was angry at people he encountered throughout his career and at the years of treatment that he considered to be unfair to him. Vesterly Flanagan, as you've heard, had a history of suing his employers for alleged racial discrimination. He actually referred to one of those cases and his lawyer in that long and rambling suicide letter. And I'm just going to read this for you. He said, quote, "I was able to sue WTWC-TV in Tallahassee with one of the best attorneys in the nation, hell, one of the best in the world." He is in fact referring to this woman, Marie Mattox, the attorney in Tallahassee who represented Flanagan back in that suit in 2000. Ms. Mattox, thank you so much for being with me today. You know, I often wonder about certain clients and their behavior and what they share in public and in private, and I understand attorney-client privilege like anybody else would. But we are living in an entirely different world 24 hours after this horror unfolded, and I want to get your reflections on the person you represented, given all the facts you now can see unfolding before you.
Actually, he was not the same person that I think that I'm seeing in the news media now, and to hear what he's done today is absolutely appalling. I represented a kind, nice, I thought he was a thoughtful person. He had a lot of anger issues about what had happened to him at the TV station here. I knew that. I felt that maybe he could benefit from some counseling, but I knew that he was very angry about the prospect of losing a career in broadcasting. And so I know that he was angry about that.
So I seized on the words that you just said, what he thought had happened to him at that Florida station where you were representing him in that lawsuit. Do you now believe what he told you? Do you believe that that station was out of line and ultimately that station settled? But do you believe this man who's capable of such horrors and who said such lies in this manifesto, do you believe what he said to you was true?
I don't know that, and I can't comment on that. My role as a lawyer is to accept what my client says to me and then try to find support for that. And this case settled fairly early on, and so I can't comment. I'm troubled by what's happened in his life after I represented him. But I have not gone back to reflect to say, you know, was this true or was it not true? I accepted it, and I knew that he was hurt badly by what he had represented to me. And, you know, as a lawyer, you can't ever say that this is, you know, 100% true if you're just relying upon what your client's telling you. So I knew that he was troubled by something, and he had represented that something to be racial statements that have been made to him and treatment in the workplace.
I mean, racial, sexist, I mean, he sort of ran the gamut. He swings so wildly, it's hard to believe anything he said. We just learned that, you know, he had written he bought his guns 2 days after the massacre at the church in South Carolina. It was weeks upon weeks, so that's just a flat-out lie as well. And I'm looking at the patterns of the complaints about him, not only at the station that has suffered this horror, but also in the answers to the lawsuit that you were involved in with him. And there is a clear pattern that this person just thought everyone else was wrong and he was right. And I just wonder, looking back, if you can see now that perhaps he was the one who was wrong all along.
And he could have been, you know, and I'm not in a position to comment on that. I know that I felt that he was credible in his representations to me, and that was the reason that I had accepted representation of him. But who knows what's also happened to him over the last 15 years. You know, there could have been a lot of things, a lot of opportunities lost, and that's what we don't know about.
Ms. Mattox, I appreciate you coming on. I understand you're just doing your job, and it's a tough job, and this has got to be hard news, I think, for you as well. Thanks again for your time.
It has been. Thank you very much.